Hi, what's up, everyone? dGon vs. Commenters. It's Facecheck Season 3, Episode 24, which was one of my favorites that we've done in a long time. It really, even beforehand, in our Discord call, it was like, hey, you good, LS? And you got to see that manifest in today's episode. So let's dive into what y'all thought of that episode. Jason Chen says, this podcast feels like my boys just chilling and talking over a drink. Yes, that is what I do. That is what I try to have people do. Make them feel relaxed and calm and feel like we're just having a conversation, right? And it was also good to catch up with LS to have him let us know, hey, we're a community that we've been, you know, that you're a part of, that I'm a part of, that Dom's a part of. Like, let us know what's up. And it was very cool of him to take a step back and be a little vulnerable and share some of his health situation, and that it was good news. So that felt really cool. And I think that's what I like about our show. It creates and cultivates a community of people that not only care about the league expertise, but also care about us, and we care about you. It's a cool dynamic. Mr. Snoogles says, honestly, I really want FlyQuest to make a miracle run of some sort. I'd say they need to win 7 out of their final 9 games to be top 6 and in the upper bracket for playoffs, assuming Dig only wins 1 more game, and to get 6, you need 19 to 20 wins. Yeah, Mr. Snoogles, like, great story there, but the math doesn't really add up, does it? Like, Dignitas are going to win at least 2 more games. They've got 9 games to try, at least 2 more games. I don't think that, obviously it is a downgrade of aggression by having Acadian in instead of Dardoch. I'm still trying to figure out if Saliga is going to come back for the final round robin, and he's just in the Academy hyperbolic chamber, but I think they still have the firepower to win enough of those games. Mr. Spooderman, friend of the show, said, finally, you guys recognize the superstar that Jiizuke is. Took you long enough, quote unquote, analysts. No. He's just having some really good stream days. You know, sometimes when you stream with your friends, you actually play better. That's what's happening with Jiizuke. Will Young says, it's so disrespectful to run a 6-man roster with Alfari. Again, got a soft spot for Bobby Jenkins, and he has performed well in spots, but he's also ended his face-off in spots. And to be fair, Alfari, when he first started, wasn't like killing it, and then he turned it on later on and has been one of the best top laners in the league, still currently sitting on the bench. I think this is a good take. I think at some point you got to rip the band-aid off and be like, all right, hope your mental's good. We fired our coach. We boomed our infrastructure. How far you're in, you know? Steve had to make the decision. Do I keep the system and structure that was put in place, and someone that obviously is one of the biggest professionals from the outside looking in Jat of League of Legends, or do I keep the player that's going to be on the Rift, plus my much larger financial investment? Clearly, Steve made his decision. It's time to go with it. Put him in. Let Alfari play. Mr. Dude, using numbers, says, about the FlyQuest promotion, I really like the move if you're an org that needs to rebuild. In Dota, Virtus Pro has done this twice amazingly. Both times they promoted their VPP Tier 2 team to the main roster when they began outperforming the main counterparts. And both times, it made the org relevant again. Virtus Pro is a solid roster competing with international opponents and their playing style. Now, I agree 3-0 for the FlyQuest squad is an overperformance, but the idea of flipping a top-tier academy to a mid-table LCS team makes sense, and it might let the org edge their way into securing playoffs. Well, Mr. Dude, I thank you for the context there in Dota. For our friends that don't follow Dota in the international, one of the greatest, if not probably the greatest world championship. I think one of the reasons why it hadn't been done before is FlyQuest has a unique situation where they're not overpaying any of their roster players, right? To the point where they can afford to do this. You have a perceived value on how much a team is worth based off of how much their salary is and how much their contract is. So let's say it was this year's Cloud9 and their academy team was performing better. It is nearly impossible to flip the roster and keep them in, right? Because we've seen Cloud9 do it before, right? With the whole benching thing, benched or whatever, and that whole meme. But that didn't stay, right? Everyone else eventually got flipped back on over. Whereas with this FlyQuest roster, you're not overpaying for anybody. So you're actually eking out more value out of your personnel by having your academy players bump up to LCS, and get wins. Each win is more valuable because it costs less to have your academy players on in there. Plus, they are performing well. But again, it all comes down to what happens this week for this academy experiment for FlyQuest. It's cool that we got to do it once. It was cool that they beat the bottom teams and a slumping Cloud9, so a slumping talented team, now face the hottest teams in the league with TSM, 100 Thieves, and Evil Geniuses. Then we can talk. Jason says, I love the idea of Spica going to Worlds just to network Lamau. Yes, that was a fantastic bit by Dom, not rehearsed. Homie just, yeah, this last episode was great, and this is why I love working with Dom. He gets it. He knows how to play his role. We know how to play our roles together. LS is going to come from the purest angle. Dom knows when to provide the comedic relief, and I'm just trying to make sure we don't get canceled, right? And so when we do all that together, funny things like this happens. Obviously, I highly, highly, highly doubt Spica will be networking with the Chinese teams there. I mean, and the way it happens is so weird. If you get to Worlds, right? It's just like, you're with your team the whole time. Maybe you get to talk at one of the Riot shoots. But really, there isn't a ton of player interaction outside of that anymore. I mean, maybe back in the day when you used to be able to leak strats to other teams, that's one thing. But not so much anymore. It's very structured. When you go out to dinner, you're not going out to dinner with the opponents, you're going out to dinner with your teammates. Unless, of course, you get knocked out early and you decide to stay a little bit longer, then, you know. There you go, Speak. I gave you the plan. All right, we'll clump these two together. Arya the Hunter says, man, it'd be a dream come true if Tanner came in and we found out he's just been grinding for months, trying to improve, and just stomps everybody. Alas, a dream. But still, dude has such a great personality, and I love seeing him in the LCS. And In Bad Shape said, CLG will drop Damonte as soon as summer is over. He's a band-aid fix that they hope will get them enough wins to make playoffs and avoid getting dropped from the league. I expect a full rebuild around 1 to 2 of their current players come 2022. Let's start with Arya's comment first. So this is an insider information, so people kind of know this. Damonte was being a content creator, right? And we talked about it on the stream. His YouTube videos weren't popping off as much, but on the back end, he was getting some really cool opportunities as a League of Legends personality and content creator. I'll let him dive into that later, but I mean, in his original, I guess, stepping down from pro play, I guess, waiting for his option, not signing for anything at the beginning of summer, he said that he would wait for any better opportunities. And again, there's so much upside for Damonte to join CLG and find success. If he's the one that finds success, you can attribute it to him, right? Again, a middle of the road, a North American resident mid laner who has a specific style. You have to play around that style. And so I think there's very little downside to it because he's already made these relationships on the content creation side that are still going to be there, and if anything, accentuate because he re-signed with CLG and then maybe found success, right? There's very nothing, very small to lose here. When it comes to In Bad Shape's comment and the rebuild for 2022, 1 to 2 players, I still think that's putting that nicely. I looked at the contract database. Finn and Wild Turtle are the 2 players under contract going into 2022. Finn is actually signed till 2023. That means Smoothie, possibly on the chopping block, Broxa, only a 1-year contract, and Pobelter / Damonte, both of them are signed to contracts that expire till the end of the year. And, you know, maybe you build around Finn, but I mean, Finn said it in his own stream. He said it on his Twitch stream in a reaction to the video. He said, all of us are playing bad. We probably deserve to be benched. He said it himself, and so he knows it. And so you know you made an investment. We don't know how much it was the contract's worth, but we do know that he's not performing to what we thought he would be able to. There are a lot of reasons why, right? We're not saying it's just Finn. Maybe you can surround him with a better team or a better mid-jungle duo, like a lot of reasons why, but no one on that team has performed up to scuff. So again, this goes back to the whole release of Greg Kim becoming head of CLG, saying that he was going to do a lot of observation for, you know, this split because he didn't know, you know, when you're doing the contract negotiations and possibly becoming head of an org, You don't know what's inside the org, just like the org doesn't know how you do things necessarily. You say how you do them, but they haven't seen how you do them. So it was this period of like, hey, we got to figure out what it is. And being so close to the end of the split, I wouldn't be surprised if Greg was like, yeah, I'm not going to touch the rest of this year. This doesn't fall on me. We'll let it fall on the previous regime, and then I can come in and get things right for 2022. And if that's the case, change is coming when you're a 9th place team. All right, next up, John Bell 71 says, Blabber looks like he has MSI PTSD. Like after his Scuttle Crab Flash Smite, Mithy and Jack pulled him into a closet and beat his ass, and now he's scared of everything. I don't know, he just looks perma-shaken. Yeah! That's a good comment. We don't condone violence here. But I do agree, right? We talked about it on the stream. Blabber's always been able to exert pressure and force opponents into mistakes, but now opponents are just playing smarter. They're like, hey, the very clear example is the one that we brought up in the broadcast. The level 3, you know, trying to fight for Scuttle Crab against level 4 Renekton. Like, it's just, I think they were thinking, hey, we've got numbers advantage. We'll be able to win this. And maybe in the past that was the case, but people are starting to realize their own power levels and not being afraid of taking those types of engagements. And, you know, that's caused Cloud9 to be 9-9 right now, and Blabber not going to be the 3-time MVP champion. Even if he popped off for the next 9 games, there are much better MVP candidates to go around. So, yeah, hopefully Blabber can figure it out. And I think it's too late. We're beyond the point of roster swaps for Cloud9 here. Maybe a roster swap from like Immortals since they're in the playoff fight. But I think you've got your roster. You know the quality and caliber of it. They didn't make roster swaps last year down this stretch. So I think we've seen what Cloud9 will do. But, you know, maybe we'll see a swap from junglers. Who's their jungler? Oh, I don't even know who their Academy jungler is. Let's look. Oh, God, it's Schernfire? Nah, you're stuck with Blabber. Well, there it is, guys. Those are the comments for this week. If I missed any, make sure to leave us comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe, too, for everything you need in the LCS.
Hey, thanks for watching VENN Esports. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below and explore our other videos. In fact, click on the ones on the screen right now.